With the Grammys on tonight, I thought it'd be a great moment to take a look at the instances that the award show has disrespected both hard rock and heavy metal musicians. I'm sure there's many more instances than what I've included in today's video, so let me know the most egregious offenses in the comment section below. In 2017, Megadeth would win their first Grammy Award. The band would win Best Metal Performance for their 2016 record Dystopia. Keep in mind the award wasn't shown on the television broadcast because the Grammys don't care about rock, and it was instead shown on their pre-broadcast. As the band walked up to stage to accept their award, the house band performed Metallica's 1986 song Master of Puppets. Immediately, people took to social media to express their disgust with the Grammys' disrespect towards the band. As for Megadeth frontman Dave Mustaine, he would tell Radio.com, "You know what? I didn't even notice it. It just sounded like some music in the background." The funny thing is that when I went back and listened to my acceptance speech and I heard the song, I was like, wow, it's a house band and they're doing cover songs. They were probably saying, "We don't know any Megadeth songs, how about if we do a Metallica song?" But when I went back and listened to it, I was like, oh my god, that's the worst version of Master of Puppets I've ever heard in my life. It was the same year that Metallica would appear at the Grammys televised portion of the ceremony, performing their single Moth into Flame from their previous year's record Hardwired to Self-Destruct. The band would perform alongside Lady Gaga, and it wasn't the first time Metallica had done a collaboration at the Grammys, as they'd previously performed their song One in 2014 with Chinese pianist Lang Lang. As Metallica was set to perform at that year's Grammys, actress Laverne Cox, who was attending her first Grammy Award show, was supposed to introduce Metallica and Lady Gaga's performance. The only problem was that she couldn't remember Metallica's name, and there was an issue with the teleprompter, and she forgot to introduce them. As the band started their performance, frontman James Hetfield's microphone wasn't working, and Hetfield would have to share a microphone with Lady Gaga. Hetfield was rightfully annoyed after the performance, as you can see here. It was following Metallica and Lady Gaga's appearance that TMZ reported that a stagehand accidentally unplugged a wire beneath the stage between rehearsals and the live performance. However, a Recording Academy spokesperson painted a different picture, saying, "What we believe happened was that either a dancer or an extra clipped the line running on the floor and it unplugged at the base of the mic," adding, "It was of course accidental." It was following Metallica's appearance at the Grammys that Hetfield told the New York Post, "I felt embarrassed. I haven't been that angry in a long time. When something out of my control goes wrong, I still get wound up. I'm sure it taps into other stuff from my past. But I felt helpless," adding, "It ended up being a blessing because I ended up singing in a microphone with Lady Gaga, maybe even more than she wanted. It felt like a real collaboration because of that." The Grammys seem like they have to continuously apologize every year for forgetting a particular artist in their In Memoriam segment. In 2021, the Grammys did a brief In Memoriam segment honoring late guitarist Eddie Van Halen, and it ended up garnering a lot of backlash online, including from his son Wolfgang, who reflected on it saying, "I didn't realize that they would only show Pop for 15 seconds in the middle of 4 full performances for others we had lost." Wolfgang would reveal he was asked to perform Eruption at the Grammys, but he declined, adding, "What hurt the most was that he wasn't even mentioned when they talked about artists we lost in the beginning of the show. I know rock isn't the most popular genre right now, and the Academy does seem a bit out of touch, but I think it's impossible to ignore the legacy my father left on the instrument, the world of rock, and music in general. There will never be another innovator like him." Eddie Van Halen wasn't the only snub in the In Memoriam segments, as in 2003, a year after Alice in Chains frontman Lane Staley passed away, the Grammys made no mention of him, and Jerry Cantrell and Sean Kinney, who were in attendance that year, walked out in disgust. It was the same case years later after bassist Mike Starr passed away. Then last year, the Grammys had to apologize for not including former Slipknot drummer Joey Jordison in their Memoriam segment, despite the fact that Slipknot won a Grammy in 2006. In 2018, it was revealed that rock music categories would no longer be part of the TV broadcast. It was reported that 70 awards were given out before the actual live broadcast began in 2018. Of course, last but not least, we have to talk about the Grammys' 1989 snub of Metallica. 1989 was the first year that the Grammys added a new category, Best Hard Rock Heavy Metal Recording. Nominated that year was of course Metallica, Jane's Addiction, AC/DC, Iggy Pop, and Jethro Tull. The Grammys were trying to look hip, and they failed in doing so. Even Chrysalis Records, Jethro Tull's label, almost didn't think the band would win and told them not to bother attending the ceremonies since the label wasn't going to pay for their flight or hotel. When presenters Alice Cooper and Lita Ford announced the winner of the category, you could hear boos in the audience as Metallica was favored to win. However, Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich would tell Louder Sound, "Remember that most of the Academy who vote for the nominees are in the age group of 40 to 60 and are very much less in tune with what goes on in the music scene." Entertainment Weekly, meanwhile, would hail Jethro Tull's win as the biggest upset in Grammy history. Due to the anger over Metallica's loss that year, the Grammys had to alter the category, having one award for Best Hard Rock Performance and a separate award for Best Metal Performance, which would be made the following year. 3 years after the loss, Metallica would win a Grammy for the Black Album, and in his acceptance speech, drummer Lars Ulrich would thank the Grammys for not nominating Jethro Tull that year. That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like button and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.